Okay, so this topic for our new pro-life podcast is going to focus on the guys. I want to focus on the guys a little bit here. So unless you skipped every single biology class in school, you would know that it takes two to have a baby. It takes one to have an abortion, but it takes two to have a baby, right? I was a biology major for 6 years in school. And what I learned is that every single person has their own DNA. They have their own DNA code. Half of that comes from mom. The other half comes from dad. I'm talking about the code. Half of the code comes from your mother. The other half of the code comes from your father. So if we were going to talk, like legalities here, okay? Legally, if we're talking about the program matrix of the human being, which is their DNA, what codes for every single aspect of their body, that does not only belong to the mother, okay? In fact, when a person is adopted, especially young men, when young men are adopted, it is very important for them to know what their paternal lineage was like, okay? And specifically for girls too. So why? Because your dad contributed to your build up, to everything about you. Your father contributed to that, okay? The father contributes to the life in the womb, but he does not get any say with what happens to that life in the womb, even though he put it there. I don't know why people don't talk about that. The woman did not put the kid in there. The guy did, right? I'm not saying that the guy puts a child inside of you. What I'm saying is that the egg does not come to be a baby on its own. It needs a man. It has to have a man. Man has to be involved, okay? Now, another woman, okay? Maybe if you're in a lab somewhere, a scientist, but for the most part, for most people, it is a man that is involved in creating this child. So if it is a man that needs to be involved in creating the child, why isn't the man involved in deciding whether or not this woman has an abortion? Okay? No sale. He's not allowed. It's not his kid yet. I don't know how. It got there because of him, but it's not his kid, right? Okay. This is the logic we love in the United States. A-logic. Anti-logic is what we enjoy here. And part of that anti-logic has seeped through the abortion climate for too long. And the men are also to blame for how long it's gone on. Guys, you have to claim your kids back. That may sound misogynistic. That may sound like tyranny. But you have to claim your kids back. We women have utterly been spoiled when it comes to childbearing. And for the most part, you guys kind of like it that way. It's like, well, she has my kid. I'm going to take care of her. I'm going to make sure she has everything that she needs. And that's kind of nice, And then on the flip side, it's like, well, if the woman is independent and she's taking care of herself and now she's pregnant, this kid is in her body, so she should be determining what happens to that child, right? She did not put the child in there. It was not her cell that kicked off the growth of this child. In a sense, it wasn't even her responsibility for why the child got there. The guy did all that, all right? Yes, of course, she consented, but the guy did everything else. So it's like, well, if it's that essential for the man to be involved to get the kid here, shouldn't it be that essential for the man to be involved in everything else that happens to that child? And for the most part, we already do. Because once that kid is born, once it's detached from mom, right? He's got to start paying child support if he's not a committed father and she files claims against him for child support. He has to start paying. That is a legal thing, okay? So it's legally your kid at the point of conception, and 2 seconds after that, nope, no longer. And then the second she gives birth, once again, it's your child again. That is baloney. And if anybody had any ounce, any iota of respect for science, they would say that this is insane. Because if you took a DNA sample from that kid inside the womb of that mother, you would find that that DNA belongs to the mother and the father. That is the father's code, that is the father's kid, and the father should have a say in what happens to that child, even in utero. That's all I'm going to say on this, and we will be talking about more stuff soon. Bye.